We have interpreted the Second Amendment to the point where if you and I were to have a dispute over something and you took a swing at me, I would be justified in shooting you. That's wrong. I'm allowed to stand my ground. I'm not allowed to step back so you can't hit me with your fist. And if you do hit me with a deadly, well, even your fist is considered a deadly weapon. I can kill you. I can shoot you and claim self-defense. I can arm myself to the teeth with semi-automatic weapons with magazines that have capacity of 50 rounds and that can be reloaded in a matter of seconds, and I can walk into a nightclub in Orlando and shoot people who I don't approve of because they're gay, lesbian, or bisexual, or transgender. I end up getting myself killed, but I can do that because the weapons are so readily available. There's no registration, there's no limits on buying these weapons, there's none. And that wasn't written into the Second Amendment. And I just think that the NRA needs to step back and look at what is needed to reduce the level of gun violence in this country. I will point out that the House of Representatives passed a law in the mid-1990s that banned the Center for Disease Control from doing any scientific studies that would document gun violence in this country and do the same type of analysis on gun violence that we do on Zika, that we do on Ebola, and other diseases, both mental health as well as physical health. That legislation was pushed through in the mid-90s by a Republican Congress. What's really interesting is that the author of that legislation, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name, he recently recanted on that, and he says, I should never have done this. This was a big mistake, because we don't have accurate data on what gun violence, how much gun violence there is, and what are the root causes. Why does somebody pick up a gun and shoot somebody? There's lots of reasons for that, and we don't have the data. You know, in a data-intensive community, we don't have the data we need to make good policy decisions. The NRA is a manufacturer's lobby. I don't see the relationship between the NRA stamp of approval and being a liberal or a conservative. If the NRA gives you a stamp of approval, that means that Smith & Wesson and the other gun manufacturers basically want you in office so they can influence how you vote. It has nothing to do with protecting public health, safety, and welfare, which is really what the Constitution is all about. There are phrases in that Constitution that go way beyond having a militia that says that it's interpreted as having an individual having the right to pick up a gun and kill somebody. Public health, safety, and welfare is paramount. And I'm sorry, but that's not, the arguments that I've heard have twisted the meaning of liberal and conservative to the point where they're meaningless. I'm a conservative. I like to conserve life. You know, if you're pro-life, if you believe that it is a sin to kill other people in the womb or in the death chamber, how can you not be opposed to gun violence? How can you not be willing to reach across the aisle and come up with some solutions that would reduce this threat to our public health, safety, and welfare? When I was a kid, I went hunting. I had a shotgun. My dad took me hunting, and the shotgun had a plug in it, so we had 3 shots. If you can't kill a pheasant with 3 shots, or a dove, should you really be hunting? Maybe you should go back and learn how to use the weapon, you know. In Boy Scouts, we shot clay pigeons with birdshot and .22, little .22 things. It was a lot of fun. I really had a good time. And then when I got older, in Texas, we'd stand under an oak tree, and as those poor little mourning doves would swim by, we'd just wham. And we got a bunch of them, but they're so small they're hard to eat because you break your teeth on the lead pellets that are in the poor little guys. So, you know, it's fun to shoot these things, and I don't have a problem with guys who like to do that sort of thing. But if you're a real hunter, you don't need an AK-47 or an M16 to kill a deer. You need 2 shots, maybe 3 at most. You don't need a shotgun with a pump and a big magazine to take down a turkey or a pheasant or a grouse. You get 3 shots and that's it. And if you had to manually reload that thing and make it, if you took that into a nightclub in Orlando, while you're reloading that thing, somebody would take you out. They'd hit you over the head with a chair or something. You know, you don't need these big magazines. those are designed to do one thing, and that's kill other human beings as efficiently as possible. And I'm sorry, but our culture, we've been conditioned, we'll call it Hollywood, call it video games, call it whatever it is, we've been conditioned to think that it's okay to pick up a gun and shoot somebody if you have a disagreement with them. And we've been conditioned to be afraid of them, even though they're not here killing us, they're over on the other side of the ocean killing us. We are isolated. We are doing a great job at security. You have to undress to get on an airplane these days, especially if you're going across the ocean. So all this paranoia about radical Islamic terrorists coming over here to kill us, we got more to be afraid of from people, homegrown terrorists, who have grown up in dysfunctional families, have had repressive parents who are out seeking their own way in the world, and they want to belong to something, and they want to have a feeling of independence. We have more to fear from those people hooking up to the wrong mentors, such as somebody they find on the internet who promises them all kinds of irrational stuff, which is what ISIS is doing. And they become radicalized. We have more to fear from that kind of radicalization than we do people coming over here from Nigeria or from Syria.